What's going on, guys? It is Super Nintendo Dude back again, and today we're doing something different on the channel, which I need to stop saying because basically everything that I try to do on this channel is always different. You know, I don't want to repeat the same thing over and over and over because then it gets stale, it gets stagnant. So I'm always trying to switch up what we're doing, but this is different in the sense of I said that I really don't like covering these types of videos. Like, this is something where I was like, I don't want to do this on this channel. I hate this kind of content. I hate this kind of format. This is different. Ever since May 6th of 2024, people have been speculating about the Switch Successor. Switch to this, switch to that, switch. I call it Switch Successor because we don't know what's gonna happen. Like, after, you know, once the next system gets like revealed or talked about, we don't know right now. As of right now, we don't know if it's gonna be another Switch or we don't know if it's gonna be a whole brand new thing, a whole brand new labeling. So that's why I call it Switch Successor. You know, look at the definition of successor. You know, it's whatever's coming after. That's why I call it that. You know, I'll never call it the Switch 2 until, you know, we probably get like harder proof or information that it actually is going to be, you know, another Nintendo Switch. But the reason why I bring that up is because there's always been a bunch of speculation, but something recently happened where things are kind of adding up even more so, which I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's just something interesting to think about and to even talk about on this channel. September 17th, 2024, there were rumors about a bunch of the developers, companies, those things of the sort. Big CEOs, CFOs, CCEO, whatever the C and the O's are, right? Going to Nintendo headquarters to potentially talk about something. We don't know what, but everybody's speculating like Switch 2, right? Switch 2. Everybody was saying Switch 2. I didn't really pay much mind to it, but it's kind of interesting because the day after that, you know, that like people were talking about it online on the 17th, today is September 18th, on Reddit, a bunch of leaks for potentially a Switch Successor hardware got leaked. Or from what I'm seeing, it looks like another Switch. I could maybe title this video Switch 2. I'm probably not gonna. There are leaks the day after on Reddit, and apparently these leaks are also looking very familiar to previous leaks that have already happened. So I'm actually gonna go to the what's it called? I'm gonna go to the Reddit thread and see if I can just look through these images, and we can have a nice civil discussion, and you know, because I'm not trying to lie to people out here, all right? And it says here, photos of Switch 2 factory prototypes have leaked on a Chinese website. Update 1359 UTC. The CAD renders may not be legitimate. It wasn't stated that the renders were mock-ups. However, the original poster was a 3D modeling enthusiast. There's a possibility that that should be considered. Nevertheless, the two photos depicting actual hardware are likely real. So there's another update at 1426 UTC. A source from Femi Boards is saying the original poster said they obtained a shell model of an accessory manufacturer at great cost and reverse designed it to create that CAD model. Therefore, it is not worth writing off the renders as fake quite yet, as it could just be an accurate mock-up of the shell if the original poster is telling the truth. We need to see more photos of the real thing or an actual proper reveal first. So the first image that we actually have here, it says, it looks like Switch STP, don't know what that is, but it looks like the side of the Joy-Cons. And you know, we can actually get, I'll actually, you know, might as well like bring up my own Joy-Cons on screen to see like what can I actually look at the comparisons here. And it looks like, I mean, from what we can see on the right Joy-Con at least, it looks like there's a separate button. It looks like a square, so it looks like maybe potentially that the second or the red or the right Joy-Con, I can't say the colors because I forgot. Different models, different colors, that's on me. But it looks like the right Joy-Con is gonna have the home menu, and it's gonna have a capture button if the leak is true. And it looks like the, what's it called? The SL and SR buttons are actually gonna be wider. Now that thing in the middle between them, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna assume that that circle is to actually pair your Joy-Cons. Looking at it right now, I don't know what this could actually be, because there's like another square there too, and you can actually see on the sides the four little squares for like when your Joy-Cons are lighting up, because right now it's on the inside of the Joy-Cons. Like if you have a Joy-Con right now, it's on the inside. It's on the inside of the Joy-Con. But I guess that could be kind of handy. I mean, if you're playing with your Joy-Cons like this, I mean, you can kind of see it, but you have to like tilt it upwards to see. So I guess if that part, if it just got elongated, and then you can see the actual things there for whatever player you are, I guess that could be a really nice change for the most part. But I'm kind of confused on what the rest of it. I see a Type-C. I don't know if it's supposed to be like, you can do like a Type-C charger on the side of the Joy-Con or not, but it's a really interesting image. Nintendo isn't really big on sharing like beta or early things when it comes to the content that they release or put out. So it's kind of hard to see, like, even if the Switch Successor does come out and it looks nothing like this, whoa, who knows? Like, Nintendo's not gonna show us, like, here's the other development of the Switch, you know, they don't do stuff like that. So, and I'm gonna head over to the next image now. Also, it says here right under, before I go to the next image, it says translation. Second Switch generation model STP. Switch second generation Switch 2 model STP. Magnetic rail slide, which I heard about earlier from previous people who were talking about Switch leaks before. 8-inch large screen. I don't know if they meant like 8 inches larger. I mean, I don't know how big the Switch screen is. Well, I couldn't find my ruler, but all I know is that it's like my pointer finger. So the Switch is officially one S&D finger long now. So I guess that's a nice little neat tidbit. But let's go over to the second image that we have here. The capture button is actually also on the left Joy-Con. There was a square on the previous image too, so I don't know if they're just including to put 2 capture buttons on like both Joy-Cons. I guess you do lose one feature if you like only have a right Joy-Con and you only have a left Joy-Con. But this looks like a way better mock-up. You can actually see way more. Looks like that's where the USB-C charging is gonna be at. So I guess maybe with the Joy-Cons you can have like a wired Joy-Con, I guess. Wow, because when you actually slide the Joy-Cons like inside the Switch, you know, I don't think it requires a Bluetooth connection. You can just play it straight from there. And it being like handheld mode and the Joy-Con separated in tabletop mode are 2 different things. So I'm wondering if you can like maybe play this wired with your Switch in tabletop mode and have it like actually wired when you're playing it in docked mode too, like USB-C to whatever the normal standard USB thing is. I forgot what it's called, but this is really interesting. And I like this design too. And you can still see that, you know, the black part of the Joy-Con, like the inside of it, pulled out again, and it's, you know, so you can see the buttons. And I guess maybe give it a better feel or something like that. That's interesting. Oh, look at that. It looks like they really did put the capture button on both sides. So this is another mock-up of what could potentially be a Switch Successor leak, and it looks like there is another capture button. I don't know if that button is meant to be something else, but it still looks like another capture button. Moving on, we have the other image. I think this is what is potentially going to be the Switch Successor compared to the normal Nintendo Switch. Also looks like an OLED, but who says that they're not going to go with the OLED design on the Switch 2? But it seems that this is actually the Switch like successor design, because you can't slide it in. As you can see, like you can't slide in the Joy-Con. So people are saying that this is like, that's literally just the OLED Switch. This can't be the OLED Switch because there's no top thing to slide it into. It's probably that magnetic thing that they were talking about where you have to slide it in from the side in order to lock it in, which I'm still wondering how that's gonna work if this leak is real. I don't know how they're gonna pull that off. Like magnetic Joy-Cons, this is gonna be crazy. And I want to see how people like mess it up. You know how people have their Switches messed up to where like if you slide in Joy-Cons to their Switch, they kind of just slide out, and you know the Switch just falls because they didn't press the button on the back to release them. I wonder if we're gonna get that kind of situation with the Switch Successor. And it also looks like the USB-C port on the bottom is also smaller than the normal Nintendo Switch. I don't know if that's because of the modeling or something like that, and it's actually the same size, but it looks like it's smaller. It looks smaller from the actual Switch. Moving on, we have a comparison of the Nintendo Switch. Where's the OLED? No, that's the Nintendo. That's not the OLED. Yeah, we have an image of the Nintendo Switch compared to the potential Switch Successor. The fake Switch, I don't know. I don't know what I should actually call this thing. I don't want to call it the real Switch Successor because like this is just a leak. This is nothing here is confirmed. But potentially the size differences between the Nintendo Switch and the Switch Successor. And I don't know how people would feel about a bigger screen. I know people like the portability. I've seen both sides of the spectrum. People saying that they want a bigger Nintendo Switch, and I've seen people say that they want a smaller Nintendo Switch, but just to make the actual like front screen the entire screen, you know? Like none of the borders. They don't want any of that stuff. So I'm wondering, are people gonna welcome a bigger Nintendo Switch, or do people want either the exact same size Switch but just, you know, better specs on it, or do people want a smaller Switch? Because I mean, we also have the Switch Lite, which is already smaller than a normal Nintendo Switch. I think I would welcome a bigger Nintendo Switch. I mean, if it has to be bigger in order for us to get more power out of the Switch, like the power and the graphics and actual stability of the Switch hardware is something that I'm looking for. Like that's what I'm really looking for. So if that's what we're end up, you know, gonna be getting, you know, because we need it bigger so we can add more stuff to it, I welcome the change. And I think it's gonna be a nice comparison between the two. And who knows, maybe down the line, you know, once the Switch Successor has like, you know, stabilized itself as, you know, a good console, maybe they'll make a smaller version for other people to enjoy, you know. Who knows, maybe we'll get a Switch Successor Lite version, you know. We already have that for the Switch, so why wouldn't they make another version? We're going down, I guess we'll do specs last. This right here looks like a image of the underside, but we're not really getting too much out of this image, at least from what I can see. Maybe the ventilation is a little bit different. I think the vents on the bottom are actually different from the Switch because we have a fan up top, and I didn't see it in any of the previous images, but maybe we'll see that later. But from what it seems like they're gonna move, at least in these images, they're gonna move, or at least the comparison from this leak to the normal Switch. The fans seem to be a part of this, like this rounder part here on the Switch, I guess, instead of being it flat on the back, which maybe that'd be better for ventilation, because, you know, people's Switches get hot. The Switch kind of gets hot sometimes, and, you know, your games be crashing. And we also have a fan on top right here too. So I wonder if they're still gonna have two fans for ventilation, you know, so the Switch can like actually breathe. And I'm wondering what these little gaps are between the those little inside parts of the Switch. I wonder what that's for. I don't know if those are also like extra fans for ventilation, or if it's just, I don't know, like a nice little neat design choice. I'm kind of curious about that. Oh, okay, now we finally have a top image of the exact same thing. So, well, the L and R buttons look nice. I mean, compared to the Joy-Cons, it looks like they got rid of the gap between them. I don't know if it's because of the angle, but it looks like the L and the ZR buttons, that little gap between them with the blue on the Joy-Cons, it looks like that's like completely gone now. It looks like in these leaks, they still have the power button. I'm assuming that's gonna be the power button, the volume, same thing on the normal Nintendo Switch, but all the way on the other side, I'm glad that they kept the aux port for headphones. A lot of people, I mean, me especially, like whenever I record these videos, I still use a normal, an aux port for my Switch when I'm using it. Like it's just easier, and the Bluetooth on the Switch just isn't good in general. The delay is absolutely crazy, so I ended up never using that feature. I messed around with it like as a kid a lot. It wasn't really the best, so I didn't using it, but I'm glad they're not taking like an Apple route and, just scrapping it entirely and, forcing us to, have two, I don't know, maybe, it actually would be cool if they did like another USB-C on the top for headphones as well. I think it'd be really interesting, since USB-C is the standard, like now it's the standard, like almost every single company is going to USB-C, but it looks like there actually is another USB-C right next to the aux. So I wonder what kind of cool peripherals that we're actually gonna get and what companies are gonna do. Because if we have it on the bottom, to charge your Switch, or put it in docked mode, and then you have an aux, and you have another USB-C on the top. Oh my gosh, I know that the peripherals and the accessories are going to be absolutely insane. Another change that I also welcome. I like the designs of the bumpers, and I like what they're thinking with the aux on the top and the USB-C. Welcome changes. I'm so okay with that. This is another better look of the back. Yeah, I think I was right about the fans in the previous image. It looks like they're entirely gone. They're gone. They're not there anymore. But I don't know how I feel about going with the OLED look of the kickstand on the back. I still have my day one Switch, of course, and nothing's wrong with it. My Switch isn't all big with the battery, seeping and the things like cracked and blowing up or whatever. I've seen a lot of those on Twitter. I'm gonna put those up on screen because those things are actually crazy. But I still like my normal kickstand, and it's not the best kickstand. I'm not gonna lie to everybody and say that it's a good kickstand, but mine personally, it does the job. It's okay. I've messed around with the Switch OLED's kickstand, and it is far better. So I just want them to move. I want them to move the logo up. I want them to move I like the logo on the center of the base model Switch, and I don't like the one on the OLED because they shifted it down, and it looks it's like a pet peeve. It's like something I'm not even like that angry about. It's not even like a bad design choice. Like, it's nothing crazy to where it's like, oh, I'm not gonna buy the Switch OLED because of this. But it's like, oh, I don't like it. It's just, oh, it's so bad. Oh. Is the second bumper, which I'm assuming is going to get rid of, or to take off the Joy-Cons, to remove them and put them back on. So it looks like the L and R buttons, or the L and ZL and the R and the ZR buttons are like really close to each other. They moved it to the side of the little bumper right here. So on the Switch, I guess it'd be like right here, instead of it being like a flat button on the back in order to remove your Joy-Cons. They made it on the side, and they made them extra big too. I don't know how. And this could also potentially be from the same person that I read earlier in the article, how they went to a source and asked for the 3D modeling, and then they printed it out. From what I know now, nobody has access to the actual models, but this is what they could potentially look like. And yeah, like I said earlier, these are squares. They added both. Okay, my main concern or issue is, assuming that this might be real, or if Nintendo does end up going this direction or route, if there are two capture buttons, why wouldn't you just add two home buttons? Maybe, I guess it would look weird if there were two home buttons, but I don't know how I'm feeling about another capture button on there. I don't know how I feel about that. And not adding one for the left Joy-Con, but having it on the right Joy-Con. And then we also have more of the inside of the actual system itself, it appears to be. Like, as you can see on the top, there's no more of that ridge to slide in Joy-Cons. They are real. If this is all like, well, let's say this is all fake, people are going to extreme lengths to make this as detailed as possible, because these leaks have remained very, very, very consistent. They have remained very consistent. Oh my gosh. But now that I'm looking at the Joy-Cons and the actual system itself, even if this is fake, the designs are genius. Whoever made this, if this is fake, if this is fake, they made a really good mock-up, because these designs are actually amazing. Like hiding the player priority, whatever you want to call it, whatever player number you are, like hiding it inside the Joy-Con once it's there, so you don't have to look at it, but taking it out and making it like even more so of its own controller is a genius idea, because you're not going to be looking at that if you're playing in handheld mode. You are player one, so it wouldn't make sense to have that. But removing it and then this is a genius design, and it looks really, really comfortable. I could imagine like slapping like a nice rubber grip over it and it being like a really solid controller to use. I have big hands, so I'm assuming these controllers should still be small, and I probably might have a little trouble here and there. But in general, this is a nice design, and whew, this is nice. This is nice. I like this design, even if this isn't real. I like this design. Here we go, another look at the back. Nothing interesting that I can really see for the most part. It looks exactly the same as the other images, except, you know, this one's for the right Joy-Con. Nothing much here. Same thing, this is for is that the left Joy-Con? Yep, same thing. And I guess here's the whole system again, all together. I don't think that there's anything else. So I guess to end all of this off, for the most part, at least for now, when it comes to images, because I'm gonna go over the specs. Okay, so I should say this right now. I'm not the one to really go to when it comes to specs. I don't really know what is good and bad without like researching like chips, or I guess, I don't know, the internal processors and stuff like that. I'm not too big on that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna say that any of this is officially the Switch 2. I'm not gonna call these leaks real. For right now, these are it's just speculation. It's just speculation. I wanted to make that very, very clear at the end of this video. I don't think that these leaks are real, and I don't think that these leaks are fake. I think this is all just purely speculation. They could be real, they could be fake. We don't know. Because the thing is, like, if you leak something and Intel takes it down, we know that it's real. Like, this has happened before. Like, leaks come out, and it's not supposed to be out yet, and Intel's like, oh, I have to take that down, but now we know it's all confirmed. We all know that it's real. It's happened before in the past. So that's the only reason why I'm like, it could be real, it could be fake. It's just really, 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 really interesting. And I don't know what to think of it right now, but I guess we'll see as time comes. I guess I've turned into one of those people now, but this is probably like the one and only time I might talk about Switch leaks for the most part. I'm not too big on it, and I've talked about it before that I'm not too big on this kind of stuff, but I just thought it was really, really interesting to talk about. This has been Super Nintendo Dude, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace.
Jalen, you've been going crazy.